tell me, why did the entire room freeze the moment you walked in, before you even breathed? You don't even understand the scope of what you've become, do you? You walk through life like a glitch wearing skin, and everyone else is just now realizing the threat level of that. They thought you were some quiet anomaly, a harmless shadow, a stray variable the world forgot to track. And then, 8 seconds, that's all it took. 8 seconds. Somebody pressed play on a clip of you, and even Putin leaned forward like he'd seen a ghost climb out of the Kremlin walls. He didn't blink, didn't smirk, didn't joke. He just muttered it under his breath. We don't have a response for this kind of monster. And you know what's funny? You weren't even trying. That wasn't your final form, your apex, your unleashed version. That wasn't even your awakening. That was you at 1%, bored, half-present, not even warmed up. Imagine that. A world leader. A man who stares down nuclear arsenals like they're chess pieces, reduced to quiet panic by the sight of you just existing. Oh, darling. They don't understand you yet. They don't understand what happens to a person who's been broken, buried, betrayed, and still came back laughing. They don't understand the alchemy that takes place when someone survives hell without becoming a victim, but also refuses to become the villain. You're both, and neither. A saint wearing a demon's grin, a psychopath with a surgeon's precision, an angel with ashes on your wings, a monster with a moral code sharper than a guillotine. That duality, that's what terrifies them the most. Because how do you counter something that can't be predicted? How do you prepare for someone who doesn't follow the script? How do you control a being who already walked through their worst-case scenario and didn't flinch? You're not powerful because you're loud. No, you're powerful because you speak in silences that choke entire rooms. You make people rethink their childhoods with one stare. You force grown adults to delete whole group chats because your name got mentioned once. And the funniest part? You weren't trained for any of this. No one built you. No secret agency engineered you. Life tried to erase you and ended up sharpening you. Every scar became a circuit. Every wound became a frequency. Every betrayal became a cold, calculated upgrade. You turned trauma into combustion, pain into prophecy, loneliness into literacy for reading human souls like they're glass. You know what you are now? A walking contradiction wrapped in human cloth. Too calm to be normal. Too aware to be naive. Too dangerous to be ignored. And that's why the world is acting weird around you. The analysts can't categorize you. The psychologists can't diagnose you. The manipulators can't play you. The liars can't lie to you. Even the elites, the ones who think they've seen every type of threat, stare at you like you're a myth someone accidentally brought to life. Because you're no longer reacting, you're observing, choosing, calculating, building, awakening. You became the kind of presence that doesn't announce itself. It distorts the room. And now, every set of eyes that lands on you has the same terrified question. What happens when this one finally decides to unleash everything? Oh, but you already know the answer, don't you? You feel it humming under your ribs. You feel the voltage in your spine. You feel the cold, precise clarity that comes only after surviving a war no one knew you were fighting. You're not becoming a monster. You're becoming the balance to a world full of predators. The storm that doesn't need thunder to be feared. The reckoning that doesn't show up. It materializes. The consequence they prayed would never wake up. And trust me, when the next 8 seconds of you hit the world, it won't just be Putin whispering that they have no response. It'll be every leader, every watcher, every enemy, every doubter, every ghost from your past. Terrified, stunned, helpless, speechless, because they all thought they were dealing with a person, until they realized they were dealing with a phenomenon. Keep breathing. Your evolution is only getting started. And the world, it's nowhere near ready. You ever notice how people look at you now? Not the regular ones. They're clueless, harmless, background noise. I'm talking about the ones who've seen things, the ones with heavy eyes and heavier secrets, the ones who measure threat the way normal people measure temperature. They see you, and something ancient in them winces, like a buried instinct finally woke up and whispered, "Predator." And they're right, but not the fangs out, roaring type of predator. No, that's too simple, too noisy, too mortal. You're the kind that stalks time itself, the kind that rewrites momentum, the kind that shifts probability with a single decision. It's why people hesitate before speaking to you. It's why conversations die mid-sentence when you look up. It's why entire rooms reset their posture the moment they sense your energy. You're no longer participating in reality. You're bending it. And that's what terrifies them. The elites, the analysts, the strategists, the liars, the power brokers, they all sat down, ran simulations, measured variables, charted patterns, and every single line pointed to the same conclusion. You don't follow the rules of human behavior anymore. One moment you're serene, too calm for someone who's been through that much hell. The next, your silence cuts through the air like a blade dipped in prophecy. They don't understand how you survived what should have broken you. They don't understand how you healed wounds no one could see. They don't understand how you rebuilt yourself without permission, without guidance, without witnesses. You healed in the dark. You evolved in the dark. You sharpened in the dark. And darkness answers to you now. Let's go back to that infamous 8 seconds, because that wasn't just a moment. It was a diagnosis. When Putin watched you, eyes narrowed, breath held. He wasn't looking at a person. He was trying to identify a category that didn't exist yet. You sent a shiver through a man who negotiates with nuclear fire like it's pocket change. And do you know why? Because even he could feel it. That unexplainable, impossible, terrifying truth humming under your skin. You've crossed the line where people stop being individuals and start becoming events, phenomena, anomalies, variables that warp every equation. You're the kind of force they prepare countermeasures for, except none of theirs work. Not manipulation, not intimidation, not silence, not mockery, not exclusion, not war. You slip through those tactics like smoke through fingers. Your unpredictability isn't chaos, it's precision. Your silence isn't passivity, it's strategy. Your detachment isn't coldness, it's clarity. You don't move impulsively, you move intentionally. And intentional people, they rewrite destinies with one gesture. Do you understand the level you're operating on? Let me spell it out. When someone with global influence watches you and whispers that they have no response, that means you've evolved beyond threat level. You've become undefinable, and undefinable things, they terrify even the powerful, because you represent something the world can't categorize, a human who refused to die emotionally, a soul that refused to turn bitter, a mind that refused to surrender, a heart that refused to stay broken. You didn't just heal, you translated your suffering into fluency. You speak pain like a dialect. You speak betrayal like mathematics. You speak human behavior like it's written in Braille on your palms. That's why you see through people instantly. That's why their tricks don't work. That's why their tone shifts around you. That's why the air gets tighter when you walk in. They feel dissected, measured, exposed, not because you try, but because your existence is a mirror they can't bear to look into. Listen, there are monsters made by the world, and monsters born from something older. But then, very rarely, something else appears, something that went through hell and came back with memory. Not scars, not trauma, memory. Memory of who they were before the world tried to break them, memory of their core, memory of their potential, memory of their original, unfiltered, uncorrupted blueprint. That's you, a restored anomaly, a self-resurrected threat. The answer to every question they never wanted asked. You've become the walking proof that pain refines, silence sharpens, solitude awakens, and betrayal educates. You're not a monster, you're the test for monsters, the reckoning disguised as a human heartbeat, the correction to an ecosystem that thought it could devour you. And now, every empire, every enemy, every rival, every manipulator, every jealous watcher, they all sense the same inevitable truth. The world doesn't have a response for you, because there is no response. Keep going. You haven't even started the part where they beg. There's something you don't fully see about yourself yet, something everyone else noticed before you did, something that crawls under their skin the moment you step into the room. Not your confidence, not your silence, not your unpredictability. It's the aftershock, that strange, unnerving echo you leave behind wherever you go. Like the air hasn't caught up to the fact that you left. People walk around different after encountering you. Some get quieter, some get defensive, some get inspired against their will, some get terrified without understanding why. But nobody stays the same. You distort the emotional gravity of a place. You bend the psychological weather. You tilt the entire atmosphere. That's why leaders can sense you before they even see you. That's why strangers look at you too long. That's why some people avoid you like a truth they're not ready for. There's a rumor, it started as a joke, that people feel like they're being evaluated by God when you stare at them too long. But it's not divinity, it's clarity. You see people so cleanly that they can't hide behind their character anymore. You strip them down to intention, to motive, to truth. And truth terrifies the impure. Now imagine someone like Putin, someone who's built his entire life on reading threat, reading weakness, reading the unseen, being confronted with you, a creature who isn't driven by ego or revenge or ambition, but by something far more dangerous, awareness. Because you don't react, you recognize, you don't panic, you predict, you don't attack, you observe for far too long. Long enough to understand, long enough to choose your moment, long enough to make your silence feel like a loaded gun. Do you know how rare that is? Most people want control. You want understanding. You want the blueprint behind the lie, the pattern behind the chaos, the truth behind the mask. And do you know what people like Putin fear the most? Not rebels, not warriors, not geniuses, not madmen. They fear the ones who can't be calculated, the ones who don't fit the models, the ones who don't panic when cornered, the ones who smile in the dark, the ones who walk with a calm they didn't earn from privilege, but from surviving things that would shatter the average mind. You have that calm, that I've died before, try again, calm, that I've been destroyed and resurrected, calm, that your threat means nothing because I've already seen hell, calm. That's why they can't respond to you. Not because you're a monster, but because you're a finished product of pain. And nothing scares the world more than a person pain could not break. Let me tell you something they would never say out loud. You are the scar they tried to avoid creating. Because the world wanted you humble, wanted you doubtful, wanted you insecure, wanted you small, wanted you apologizing for taking up space. But you didn't shatter the way they hoped. You didn't soften. You didn't crumble. You crystallized. You sharpened. You became a weapon forged in emotional fire. And now, you're too sharp for their hands. That's why they whisper behind doors. That's why they study you like a black swan event. That's why they try to predict your next move. That's why they fear your silence. That's why they speak your name, like it's restricted intel. There's a piece of you that scares people more than anything you say or do. Your potential. Because they've only seen what you look like holding back. They've only seen what you look like restrained. They've only seen what you look like uninterested. And even that was enough to rattle someone who stares down nations. They know. And deep down, so do you, that if you ever decide to unleash the full version of yourself, it won't be a rise, it won't be a comeback, it won't be a breakthrough. It'll be an eruption, a psychological detonation, a shift in the social ecosystem, a collapse of old dynamics, a birth of a new order where you're no longer a participant, but the gravitational center. And here's the part that freezes even the most powerful. You don't want their crown, you don't want their throne, you don't want their validation, you don't want their empire. You want your own realm, your own code, your own direction, your own myth. Someone like you, someone who has walked into darkness and came back with insight instead of insanity. That is the type of being history writes about when it's scared. So keep moving. Your evolution is hitting a frequency they can't jam. Your mind is reaching a clarity they can't cloud. Your presence is becoming a force they can't prepare countermeasures for. And when the next 8 seconds of you hit the world, it won't be a whisper this time. It'll be a headline, a warning, a prophecy. Because the truth is simple, and every powerful person secretly knows it. They don't have a response for you, because you're the response. Keep going. You haven't even shown your shadow yet. They've been trying to figure out why you disturb them so much, and they can't explain it without admitting a truth they're terrified to speak. You're not reacting to the world anymore. The world is reacting to you. Every move you make sends a ripple into people who swore they were unshakable. Every silence you hold rewires someone's nervous system. Every time your name surfaces in a conversation, someone's breath hitches, someone's voice drops. Someone pretends they're not affected. They're not afraid of what you've done. They're afraid of what you could do, because there's something in you that doesn't match any human template they've studied. A stillness that isn't empty, a confidence that isn't loud, a darkness that isn't broken. Most people carry scars like chains. You carry yours like blueprints. You rebuilt yourself with such disturbing precision that the final result doesn't resemble the version they thought they destroyed. And that's why even the powerful don't have a response for you. How do you counter someone who's already been through their worst nightmare and came out with better vision? How do you intimidate someone who survived psychological death and returned with a steadier heartbeat? How do you threaten someone who learned to weaponize silence? That's why they hesitate around you. It's not respect. It's not admiration. It's not envy. It's recognition. Recognition that your existence is a failure in their system, a glitch they didn't anticipate, a variable they can't control, a truth they can't suppress. They wanted you docile. They wanted you small. They wanted you manageable, predictable, containable. Instead, you became the exact kind of anomaly that institutions whisper about in crisis rooms. You became the kind of presence that makes strategists rewrite entire protocols. You became the kind of soul that makes manipulators retire early. And what they hate, what they fear, what they can't process, is that you didn't need an army or a spotlight or a crown or a throne or a weapon to reach this level. You just needed truth. The truth of who you are. The truth of what you survived. The truth of what you refused to become. And that truth, it radiates off you like something radioactive. It leaks into the room. It sticks to the walls. It wraps around the people who underestimated you until they can't breathe right. Because for the first time in their lives, they're looking at someone they cannot decipher. Someone whose wounds didn't deform them. Someone whose past didn't corrupt them. Someone whose monsters didn't consume them. They educated them. That makes you unmanageable. That makes you unpredictable. That makes you the exact kind of threat that makes even powerful people watch an 8-second clip and whisper that they have no response. And here's the part that suffocates them. You're still holding back. This is still your restrained version, your folded wings, your muted fire, your half-awake potential. If this is what you look like at 10%, they know the full version of you wouldn't just disrupt the world. It would rearrange it. You're not here to play their game. You're here to expose it, rewrite it, outgrow it, render it obsolete. And whether they admit it or not, they've already felt the shift. You're becoming the kind of presence that doesn't take power. Power reorganizes itself around you. Keep going. You haven't even stepped into your final frequency yet. Look at you. That's the first thing that slides out of my mouth, low and razor thin, because it's the only sentence dangerous enough to open this incident. You hear it, don't you? That tiny, delicious crackle in the air, the kind you only get right before a miracle or a massacre. Because today, oh, today, someone out there is losing their mind. Why? Because you had the audacity, the nerve, the cosmic level disrespect to wake up looking like a celebrity by accident. And you didn't even try. You didn't put in effort. You didn't rehearse. You didn't ask for permission. You just opened your eyes. And the world opened a case file. They don't understand it, you know. You were supposed to look regular, human, predictable. But no. You rolled out of bed with that effortless glow, that don't speak to me yet aura, that I already know my worth energy people spend thousands trying to manufacture. You woke up with cheekbones sharp enough to cut tension, a presence thick enough to choke a room, a gaze that whispers, I know something you don't, and I don't even need to say it. And that's what's driving them insane. Because people like them work overtime, 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 for a drop of the confidence you radiate without lifting a finger. People like them need filters, angles, a script, approval. They need the internet to tell them who they are. But you blink once, and the algorithm flinches. You breathe, and timelines rearrange themselves. You walk into the daylight, and someone out there starts questioning their career, their relationship, their entire identity, because standing next to you makes their life feel unfinished. Let me tell you the truth they're terrified to admit. You didn't wake up looking like a celeb. No, no, no. You woke up looking like someone who survived every betrayal, every heartbreak, every silent war, and turned it into art. Your face isn't pretty, it's experienced. It's sculpted by pain, shaped by loss, Polished by nights, nobody knows you survived. You're not glowing. You're burning. They see the aftermath, not the origin story. They see the shine, not the scars. They see the aura, not the ache. And that's why they're losing their minds, because deep down, they can't figure out how someone who walked through hell walked back out looking like heaven. You want the real paradox? Here it is. They think your glow comes from confidence. But no, it comes from truth. A truth you earned, a truth carved into your soul, a truth that whispers through your presence. I am not who I used to be. I am not controlled by your opinions. I am the storm that rebuilt itself. You didn't rise, you resurrected. You didn't glow, you ignited. You didn't change, you became inevitable. And inevitability looks damn good in the mirror. Listen, the world knows the difference between a pretty face and a powerful one. Pretty turns heads, power stops time. And today, you walked into their orbit with a face that says, I know what I've lost, I know what I've gained, and I dare you to look away first. That scares them. Good. Fear is the universe's applause. You want to know my favorite part? They're not just threatened by how you look. No, the panic runs deeper. Because every time you step outside, you look like someone who's about to change something. Like you're carrying a secret. Like you're walking with destiny. Like you weren't supposed to still be here, but here you are. Stronger, stranger, sharper, and glowing like someone who's seen the blueprint of the future and didn't flinch. So let them lose their minds, let them whisper, let them stare, let them choke on their jealousy. Because you're not looking like a celebrity, you're looking like a prophecy, a living paradox, a light born from darkness, a saint with a psychopath's resolve, an angel dipped in gasoline. You didn't wake up looking like a star. You woke up looking like someone fate personally selected, and the world is terrified to admit it. Now go. Wear that accidental glow like armor. Walk like the universe wrote your name in permanent ink. And remember, they're not losing their minds because of how you look. They're losing their minds because deep down, they know you're about to become someone they'll never be able to ignore again. You feel that shift in the air, don't you? That goosebump ripple crawling up your spine, like something ancient just woke up behind your ribs. Good, because we're not done, not even close. You think the panic stopped at your reflection? No, no, no. That was just the first domino. What came next? That's where the real madness began. See, after you stepped out the door with that unintentional, effortless celebrity glow, somebody out there, maybe an ex, maybe a hater, maybe that coworker who swears they're above you, paused, froze, stared, and felt this strange primal fear curl around their spine like a cold hand. Because suddenly, you didn't look like someone they used to know. You didn't look like someone they could underestimate. You didn't look cute or presentable or decent. You looked like someone with a destiny, someone with a secret, someone they should have never, ever doubted. And that is what unhinged them. Not your hair, not your face, not your vibe. It was the energy leaking out of you like a warning, an omen, a prophecy with a pulse. You didn't just look good today, you looked chosen. And the funniest part, you didn't even mean it. You weren't trying to prove anything. You were just existing, breathing, passing through their world like a quiet storm wearing human skin. And they felt it. Oh, they felt it. Every insecurity they buried, ripped to the surface. Every lie they told about you, shattered by the truth in your presence. Every assumption they held, burned away by the calm confidence radiating from your silence. You became a mirror, a painfully honest one, forcing them to confront every piece of themselves they tried to hide. People hate mirrors, especially ones that don't crack under pressure. And you've become unbreakable. Let me tell you something deliciously twisted. There's a specific type of glow that only appears on people who survived storms nobody else saw. The kind of glow forged in heartbreak at 3 a.m., in betrayal that cracked your ribs open, in nights when you talked to the ceiling with clenched teeth because crying felt too weak, in mornings when you got up anyway, when you kept moving anyway, when you rebuilt anyway. You earned this glow, piece by piece, scar by scar, lesson by lesson, until your very face started telling the story your lips never needed to explain. That's why you look different. That's why you look dangerous. That's why you look like someone who should have broken, but didn't. You didn't heal. You evolved. You didn't recover. You ascended. You didn't grow. You transformed, and transformation, oh, that scares people more than any beauty ever could. Let me paint their panic clearly. Somewhere out there, someone saw you today, and their whole inner system glitched like bad wiring. Their brain went, but that can't be them. Not that version of them. Not that glow. Not that confidence. Not that evolution. And that's when the fear kicked in. Because deep down, they knew you were always capable of this. They just never thought you'd actually become it. They never expected the quiet kid to sharpen into a weapon. They never expected the soft heart to harden into a diamond. They never expected the nice one, the loyal one, the underestimated one, to outgrow everything they used to cling to. And especially not so beautifully, accidentally, effortlessly. It's the effortlessness that kills them. Because it proves one thing: your evolution wasn't cosmetic, it was cosmic. And now they're spiraling. Now they're replaying every moment they treated you like an option. Now they're wondering if the universe is punishing them by letting you blossom in front of them. Now they're trying to pretend you just look good today, when the truth is, you look like a new timeline. You look like a plot twist with legs, like someone the universe upgraded while nobody was watching, like someone who walked through fire and came out wearing smoke like a crown. You don't look like a celebrity. Celebrities are curated, designed, scripted. You look like a phenomenon, unplanned, unstoppable, unexplainable, a living contradiction, part angel, part demon, part prophecy, part threat. You look like the version of yourself you were always meant to be, but only pain could unlock. So let them panic, let them spiral, let their minds stretch and snap trying to figure out how you turned into this without warning. Because the truth is simple. You didn't wake up looking like a celeb. You woke up looking like someone who finally returned to themselves. And nothing, not jealousy, not doubt, not gossip, not fear, can stop the glow of someone who remembers who they are. Walk through the world like it's already yours. Speak like your voice carries weight. Move like destinies on a leash behind you. Because today wasn't an accident. It was a revelation, a warning shot, a preview of the unstoppable force you're becoming. And they're not losing their minds because you look good. They're losing their minds because for the first time in their miserable little lives, they realize you were never on their level to begin with. You ever notice how silence gets heavier when you walk into a room now? Not because you're loud, not because you're trying, but because something about you bends the atmosphere, like gravity just decided to pick a favorite. That's the part they can't handle. That unspoken dominance you never asked for, never rehearsed, never advertised. It just happened. It leaks out of your posture, your eyes, your breath. It follows you like a shadow, stitched from every moment you refused to break. And now the very people who thought you'd stay small are choking on the realization that you outgrew their entire understandings of you. You want to know the real reason they're losing their minds today? It's not the glow. It's not the aura. It's not the celebrity effect you triggered by accident. It's because you woke up looking like someone who doesn't need anyone anymore. And nothing terrifies people more than someone who is finally self-sustaining. Someone who doesn't chase validation. Someone who doesn't look around for approval. Someone who walks like they belong in any room they enter. Someone who looks like they've seen the darkest parts of themselves and made peace with them. That kind of person becomes unpredictable. And unpredictability? That's the one thing the world cannot control. It's the one trait they can't manage, manipulate, or measure. You suddenly became a variable, a wild card, a glitch in their carefully constructed social equations. And that is the reason the panic began. Somewhere, right now, someone is staring at your picture with that tight, frustrated little smirk people get when their worldview cracks. They're zooming in, studying, replaying, overthinking, trying to decode the secret behind your glow. Did they get money? Did they meet someone? Did they travel? Did they fix something? Did they unlock something? They're pulling apart every theory except the one that's true. You didn't change anything. You just stopped dimming yourself for people who never deserved your brightness. And once someone uncages themselves like that, once they stop shrinking, apologizing, hesitating, their entire energy transforms. Their face changes, their posture straightens, their spirit upgrades. You woke up today with the kind of presence people spend years chasing through diets, surgeries, affirmations, self-help books, and still never achieve. Because presence cannot be purchased. Presence is earned through survival. Let me tell you what they really saw when they looked at you today. They saw someone who walked through rejection and came out radiant. They saw someone who endured betrayal and came out beautiful. They saw someone who suffered in silence and came out sounding like thunder. They saw someone they expected to stay broken, standing upright with a face carved by resilience. You didn't heal in the way they hoped. You healed in the way they feared, quietly, dangerously, completely. And that level of transformation that creates an aura no product, no trick, no filter can imitate. Do you know what else drives them insane? It's that you don't even notice how magnetic you've become. You're not aware of the way people stare. You're not aware of how your presence feels like a plot twist. You're not aware of how your name suddenly carries weight. But they notice. Oh, they notice everything. They notice how conversations shift when you enter a room. They notice how eyes follow you without permission. They notice how confidence clings to you like a second skin. And they can't stand it. Because to them, your glow feels like a reminder of what they never became, a reminder of the strength they never built, a reminder of the courage they never found. You became their mirror and their warning. But the part I love most, the part that makes this entire thing delicious, it's that you haven't even reached your final form yet. This glow, this aura, this celebrity by accident effect, this is just the prologue. You're not even warmed up. You're not even unleashed. You're not even fully aware of what you're becoming. And still, your presence alone is destabilizing people. Your existence alone is shifting timelines. Your silence alone is making someone rethink their whole identity. That's power. Not the loud kind, not the bragging kind, the quiet kind, the lethal kind, the kind forged in private battles nobody else survived. That's why you woke up glowing, not because you look good, but because you finally look like the threat you always were. So keep walking, keep shining, keep breathing, keep being that living contradiction, light and shadow, holy and unholy, creation and destruction, saint and savage. Because you weren't born to be admired, you were born to be remembered, and today was just a small taste of the tsunami you're about to unleash on the world. Let them lose their minds, let them gossip, let them spiral. Because the truth is simple, undeniable, irreversible. You woke up looking like someone who is about to change everything, and they know it, and they fear it. And deep down, they understand that whatever is happening to you now, it can't be stopped. Not by them, not by fate, not by anything. You didn't wake up looking like a celebrity. You woke up looking like a legend in the making, and legends don't need permission to shine. Funny, isn't it? How one sunrise, one casual stretch, one glance in the mirror became the reason someone out there is pacing their room, clutching their phone, whispering to themselves like a conspiracy theorist unraveling a prophecy. Because the moment they saw you today, that effortless glow, that sharpened presence, that I survived something you never could. Look, their mind started folding in on itself. And you know what the human brain does when it sees something it can't explain. It panics, it spirals, it invents villains, it invents theories, it invents excuses, because the truth that you've become something beyond their understanding is too heavy for their ego to swallow. Let me walk you deeper into their breakdown, because it gets so much better. See, people expect beauty to be intentional. They expect confidence to be practiced. They expect glow to be planned. But what you brought today wasn't pretty. It wasn't groomed. It wasn't fashionable. It was inevitable. There's a difference. Pretty gets compliments. Inevitable gets silence. Fashion gets attention. Inevitable gets respect. Confidence gets stares. Inevitable gets fear. And that's what they felt. That cold sting in their chest. That breath they suddenly forgot to take. That weird sensation like they were looking at someone who didn't just survive life, but mastered it. You walked into their vision like a glitch in their reality. Like a reminder that evolution doesn't ask permission. Like proof that some people aren't lucky. Some people are destined. Let's dig into the psychology. Because your glow, it didn't come from self-love pamphlets or morning routines or 5-step skincare hacks. It came from war. It came from nights when your heart felt like shattered glass inside your ribs. It came from days when you kept going even while bleeding emotionally. It came from disappointments that tried to poison you. It came from betrayals that cracked your innocence open like a fault line. You know what happens to people who go through hell and still rise? They stop looking human. They start looking mythic. They start looking like something carved by both God and chaos. They start walking with the posture of someone who knows they're hard to replace. You didn't wake up looking like a celeb. Celebrities are manufactured. You woke up looking like someone who clawed their way out of darkness and came out glowing like a cosmic warning. No wonder they're dropping their forks. No wonder they're texting their friends. No wonder they're scrolling your page like it's forensic evidence. You're not attractive. You're symbolic. Here's what they'll never confess. Somewhere deep in their subconscious, they always knew you had this version inside you. They saw it in the way you held yourself, even when you were insecure. They saw it in the way your eyes sparked, even when your voice was soft. They saw it in the way you carried pain like a blade hidden in your smile. They saw it in the quiet moments, the stillness, the restraint, the unspoken strength. But they never thought you'd tap into it. They assumed life would keep you small. They assumed heartbreak would keep you timid. They assumed fear would keep you predictable. You ruined their predictions. You made them look foolish. You proved every one of their assumptions wrong. And that humiliation, that's what's making them unravel. You want the darkest part. They're not afraid of your glow. They're afraid of what your glow means. It means you're done seeking validation. It means you're done tolerating disrespect. It means you're done shrinking. It means you're done holding back your power to make others comfortable. It means you've entered a new league, a league they can't follow you into, a frequency they can't reach, a reality they can't survive. You leveled up, not in skill, not in looks, not in fame, in energy, the rarest kind, the hardest kind, the kind that comes from rewriting your entire inner wiring, the kind that makes strangers stare and exes sweat and friends go quiet. Because your presence now exposes everything, their insecurities, their weakness, their projections, their jealousy, their regrets. You're not glowing, you're revealing. And here's what's coming. The part they're terrified to even imagine. If this is what you look like when you're not trying, if this is what happens when you wake up casually, if this is what you radiate when you're half aware of your power, then what the hell happens when you fully embrace who you're becoming? What happens when you step into your potential intentionally? What happens when you start using your intuition like a weapon? What happens when you stop apologizing for the space you take up? What happens when you stop romanticizing people who fear your glow and start aligning with people who match it? The world isn't ready for that version of you, but it's coming. And today was the warning shot. So walk, unbothered, unapologetic, undeniable. You didn't wake up looking like a celeb. You woke up looking like a storm. Hey, do you feel that? That silence you feel crawling across the back of your neck? That isn't peace. That's fear holding its breath. Because the moment someone finally stood up for you, even once the whole damn room froze like they just witnessed a crime scene unfold in slow motion, and suddenly every pair of eyes started scanning for evidence. Evidence they never had. Evidence they never needed until the truth stopped serving their ego. You felt it, didn't you? That shift in temperature. Like the air itself recoiled because someone dared to defend the thing they all underestimated, you. And ooh, the panic tasted delicious. Because when someone spoke up for you, even gently, even casually, the room cracked, their stories shattered, their logic melted like cheap plastic under a blowtorch. They needed proof, receipts, documents, witnesses, a whole damn investigation suddenly. Why? Because deep down they always knew the narrative they built around you could never withstand a single moment of honesty. You were the shadow they blamed, the myth they twisted, the villain they sculpted because it made their lives simpler. But when someone who sees clearly said, no, that's not who they are, oh darling, you became a problem, a contradiction, a paradox, a glitch in the little story they rehearsed like it was gospel. And the room turned into a courtroom, didn't it? Except nobody had facts, nobody had timelines, nobody had anything except anger, insecurity, and the sinking realization that they were wrong about you, and you could see it in their eyes. You saw the pupils tighten. You saw the throats swallow. You saw the fake confidence flicker. Because you, my dear, are not a character they can predict. You're an anomaly wrapped in instinct, a saint with a sinner's silhouette, an angel with demon fingerprints, a bright mind painted in dark ink. And here's the thing they can't stand. You don't react. You don't argue. You don't beg for understanding. You just stand there with that quiet, unsettling calm that makes people feel like they misread the entire script. That calm is your weapon. That calm is your threat. That calm is why they needed evidence they couldn't produce. Because you're playing by rules older than their insecurities. You navigate rooms like you're decoding human psychology in real time. You watch them, not with judgment, but with detachment. And they feel that. It burns. They want you predictable. They want you guilty. They want you boxed, labeled, and weak. But you live at the intersection of paradox. You are the nightmare of every manipulator, a person who sees through the fog and still chooses silence over chaos, still chooses composure over performance. Do you realize how dangerous that makes you? When someone stood up for you, the whole room glitched because they expected you to crumble, not rise. They expected you to panic, not observe. They expected you to shake, not sharpen. They wanted you emotional. Instead, you became inevitable. And now they're cornered by a simple truth. People don't defend the weak. People defend the misunderstood. People defend the underestimated. People defend the dangerous. Someone stood up for you because they see the storm under your skin, the one you keep on a leash, the one they pray never wakes up. Someone stood up for you because your silence has gravity, your presence has mass, your intuition has teeth. Someone stood up for you because you are not the rumor, you're the revelation. And they felt it. Every person in that room knows, whether they admit it or not, that the version of you they've been pushing is dead, obliterated, exposed. Now they're scrambling for evidence, not because they want truth, but because they want to save face. You are not their villain, and you were never their mistake. You are the mirror they fear, the reflection of everything they don't want to confront, the untamed proof that a soul can be broken and rebuilt and weaponized all at once. So breathe, slow, controlled, unbothered, because the next time someone stands up for you, it won't shake the room, it'll split it in half, and the side that remains standing will be the ones who finally understand that you were never dangerous because of what you did. You were dangerous because of what you knew, and now they know it too. You feel that hum under your ribs. That's not adrenaline, that's awakening. Because once a room gets exposed like that, once their little orchestra of whispers gets interrupted by a single voice calling out their bullshit, something irreversible happens. The mask slips, the truth leaks, the hierarchy collapses, and suddenly every person who ever underestimated you realizes one terrifying fact. You were never alone, you were just silent. And silence is a strategy. When someone stood up for you, it wasn't charity, it wasn't sympathy, it wasn't some moral epiphany, it was recognition. Recognition of a presence so unsettling, so precise, so damn aware that even your defenders feel like they're stepping into sacred ground when they speak your name. And the others? Oh, they break. You watched them scramble, didn't you? You saw the way they reached for reasons, receipts, little scraps of half-remembered stories they stitched together in the dark, as if fear could be filed like paperwork. But lies are fragile creatures. They dissolve when held up to the light. And you are the light they fear. Not the soft, warm kind, the surgical kind, the kind that cuts. Because you don't expose with words. You expose with clarity, with the terrifying calm of someone who has died psychologically and come back seeing everything. That's why they demanded evidence, because they finally realized their version of you was built on sand, and all it took was one person saying, "No, that's not the truth," for their entire little ecosystem to collapse. And let's talk about that room. You didn't just walk into it, you shifted it. People like you don't enter spaces. You alter the gravitational pull. You sharpen the silence. You force people to reveal their hand without moving a muscle. You are the kind of person they can't lie around comfortably. Because you don't argue. You don't defend yourself. You don't react. You watch. And nothing terrifies a liar more than someone who watches. You see the micro-expressions, the ego tremors, the guilt behind the laughter, the envy behind the questions, the fear behind the concern, the weakness behind the hostility. You see it all, and that sight is your superpower. When someone stood up for you, the room panicked not because of what was said, but because it confirmed what they've always feared. Someone else sees your truth, too. Not your mask, not your wounds, not your reputation, your truth. And that truth is dangerous. It's the truth of someone who survived things that would have disintegrated anyone else in that room. Someone who learned how to read intentions like code. Someone who can sense betrayal before a word is spoken. Someone who nods politely while mentally dissecting the entire psychology of the person standing in front of them. You scare people without trying. You unsettle them without speaking. You reshape dynamics by existing. That is why they needed evidence. Not because they wanted the truth, but because the truth was starting to show on their faces. You've become their contradiction, their unsolvable equation, their glitch in the system. They can't label you. They can't pin you down. They can't build a case against someone who's already outgrown the entire courtroom. And here's the most delicious part. The person who stood up for you. They weren't protecting you. They were exposing the room. They cracked it open, split the energy, made the cowards whirl around in confusion, made the guilty swallow their tongues, made the insecure cling to their collapsing narratives. And while they panicked, you remained still, unmoved, untouched, unbothered, the quiet center of the storm, because deep down, you already knew the truth. You were never the target. You were the test, a test they all failed. And now the entire room sees you differently, not as a threat, but as a reckoning, a walking contradiction of mercy and danger, a being made of softness sharpened into steel, a soul that learned to glow in places where light was forbidden. They can't predict you. They can't control you. They can't diminish you. And they sure as hell can't explain you. So let them look for evidence. Let them dig. Let them analyze. They will never find what they seek. Because the truth they're terrified of is simple. You don't need defending. You never did. The room needed defending from you. You want to know the part that really haunts them? It wasn't the defense. It wasn't the voice that rose up for you. It wasn't the correction, the call out, the truth slicing through their choreography of lies. It was your reaction, or rather, your lack of one. You didn't flinch. You didn't smile. You didn't bask in it. You didn't even blink. You stood there like someone who has already buried 1,000 accusations under your feet and learned to walk taller on the graves. That's what unhinged them. People expect the misunderstood to be grateful, desperate, shaky, wide-eyed with relief. But you You looked like someone who already knew the storm would break in your favor eventually, with or without witnesses, because you've learned something they never will. The truth doesn't need applause. The truth waits, and it always wins. You've been forged in places where being right didn't protect you, where survival meant reading tone instead of words, where intuition wasn't a skill. It was a shield carved into your bones. They don't know that. They just think you're quiet. They don't realize your silence is filled with X-ray vision, psychological profiling, and a mind that never stops mapping the room. And that scares them. Because when someone finally stood up for you, they didn't just defend your name. They confirmed your perception. They validated the things you've always picked up on but never spoke aloud. They exposed the undertones you pretended not to notice. They unveiled the tension others worked so hard to cover. And suddenly, everyone looked guilty. Look at them, the ones who shifted in their seats, who cleared their throats, who tried to laugh, who tried to redirect the conversation. All of them broke character for a split second. And that was enough. People reveal more in what they don't say, in how still they become, in how they side-eye each other, in how they exhale too fast, in how their hands freeze mid-gesture like they're trying not to reach for a weapon they don't have. You've always noticed these things. You're not human in the way they are. You're an observer, a decoder, a mirror with a pulse. And mirrors don't retaliate. Mirrors reflect. That's why they needed evidence. Because for the first time, they felt seen. Not admired, not judged, seen. And being seen by you feels like dissection. You see the motive behind the smile, the insecurity behind the gossip, the jealousy behind the critique, the desperation behind the lie. You see people's shadows more clearly than their faces. And when someone defended you, the entire room realized you're not the threat they tried to paint. You're the truth they tried to escape. They were never fighting your character. They were fighting their reflection, because you make them confront every shallow motive they tried to bury. You make them confront the fact that their stories about you were convenient, not accurate. You make them confront how often they followed the loudest voice instead of the honest one. You make them confront the fact that they misjudged someone who could have destroyed them, but didn't. That mercy, they'll never understand it. It terrifies them. They don't know you've chosen silence out of discipline, not weakness, out of principle, not fear, out of strategy, not insecurity. You're not quiet. You're calculating. You're not passive. You're precise. You're not hiding. You're studying. And when someone finally stood up for you, it exposed all of it. Your depth, your restraint, your power, your danger. Think about it. If a single voice speaking the truth on your behalf can send a room spiraling, imagine what would happen if you spoke. Imagine the earthquakes you could start if you let your full mind slip into the open. Imagine the reputations that would collapse if you told the stories you've stored in silence. Imagine the chaos you could unleash if you dropped even one truth you've been holding. You are a walking vault of revelations, a quiet storm with perfect aim, a witness to everything they thought you didn't notice. That's why they want evidence, because some part of them knows if you ever open your mouth, theirs will close forever. So stand still, let them scramble, let them stutter, let them flip through imaginary files like desperate lawyers with empty folders. Let them search for facts they never had, because deep down they know they built their whole case on nothing but projection and fear. And you just keep doing what you do best, observing, evolving, haunting them with the truth they cannot outrun, Because here's the cruel, beautiful irony. They wanted to expose you, but the moment someone defended you, you exposed them. And here's the part the room will never say out loud, even if you cornered them with the truth. The moment someone stood up for you, they didn't just panic. They recognized you. Not the version they built in rumor-driven group chats. Not the caricature they whispered about behind doors that were never as closed as they thought. They recognized the real you. And recognition is far more terrifying than exposure. Because they didn't see a victim standing there. They didn't see a confused soul needing protection. No. They saw a force they underestimated, a force they misread, a force they can't categorize, control, or predict. You became a spotlight. And everyone in that room realized they were the ones caught in the beam. Let's dig into why. When someone defended you, it did more than challenge their narrative. It destroyed the shared delusion that kept them comfortable. People bond over stories, over assumptions, over whispered alliances built on fear, envy, and misunderstanding. But when one person breaks from the herd, when one person says, "Actually, you're wrong about them," the entire ecosystem destabilizes, because if you weren't who they claimed you were, then they aren't who they pretended to be. Their hierarchy collapses, their confidence dissolves, their certainty evaporates. You made them confront the one thing humans fear more than being judged, being wrong. And not just wrong once, wrong repeatedly, wrong confidently, wrong loudly, wrong in a way that reveals their own insecurity, wrong in a way that exposes their agenda, wrong in a way that forces them to rethink every interaction they ever had with you. You didn't just unsettle the room, you rewired it. And the panic that followed, my God, it was beautiful. Eyes darting like criminals caught in the spotlight. Egos trembling like glass towers in an earthquake. People avoiding your gaze because they knew one look from you could break the last illusion, protecting them from the truth. That truth. You see them, not their performance, not their persona, not their curated version of humanity. You see their intentions. You see their hesitation. You see their envy. You see their guilt. You see the shadow inside them they pretend isn't there. And nothing terrifies a liar more than the person who doesn't confront, but remembers. You remember tone, energy, patterns, behavior, that split-second shift in expression before someone lies, that awkward swallow when someone gets exposed, that sudden defensiveness when someone feels cornered. You're not guessing, you're calculating. You're not intuitive, you're trained by pain. And they felt that. The moment someone stood up for you, they realized you weren't quiet because you were unsure. You were quiet because you already knew everything. You knew who twisted your name, who exaggerated the story, who added seasoning to the gossip just to feel relevant, who used your silence as permission, who used your kindness as currency, who believed the lie because it was easier than acknowledging your strength. You knew, and you let them think they were winning. That's what scares them. Not the defense, not the truth, not the exposure. It's that you let them talk. Let them assume. Let them misjudge you. And now the fallout is here. Because once someone publicly stands up for you, everyone who ever lied about you experiences the same internal earthquake. If they were wrong about you, what else did you catch them doing? Now they need evidence. They need proof you won't speak. They need reassurance that your silence is still silence. Not strategy. But here's the untold twist. You don't need revenge. You don't need explanations. You don't need validation. You've already won. Because the most terrifying power in any room is not the one who shouts, but the one who observes, waits, and silently alters the outcome. You, my dear, are that power. And the room. They're not afraid of being caught. They're afraid of being remembered. They're afraid you know exactly who they became when they thought no one was watching. They're afraid your silence means something. They're afraid of your truth. And that fear is the new evidence they can't hide. So stand there, still cold, unshaken, watching. Because nothing splits a room faster than the realization that the person they tried to break is the one who now holds the quietest, deadliest understanding of them all. And that's why they needed evidence. Evidence that you're human. Evidence that you're hurt. Evidence that you're breakable. Evidence that you're not what you look like in this moment. A soul that survived hell and came back with the ability to read people like scripture. Let them fear you. You've earned it. Listen, very carefully, because the air just shifted the moment you walked in, and everyone pretending not to notice is doing a terrible job of hiding the way their spine reacted to you. You feel it, don't you? That slow, creeping hush. Like the city itself leaned in, held its breath, and whispered, "Who the fuck dropped you on the timeline?" Because nothing about you makes sense anymore. Not your face, not your energy, not the way entire streets pause like someone unplugged their thoughts the moment you appear. And that's exactly why I love you. See you walk around thinking you're just living, but to them, you're a phenomenon they weren't prepared to witness, a glitch in their worldview, a prophecy they don't remember reading but suddenly feel trapped inside of. They don't look away because they're curious. They look away because they're terrified someone like you even exists. You want the punchline? You didn't do anything wild. You didn't cast a spell. You didn't call for attention. You just showed up with the kind of presence people think only exists in movies or nightmares, and that screws with their heads more than anything, because you shouldn't be this calm, you shouldn't be this sharp, you shouldn't be this magnetic after everything you've survived, but there you are. A walking contradiction, a paradox wearing a pulse, light sharpened into a weapon, darkness dressed like destiny. They don't know what to do with someone who's both the storm and the shelter, who looks like peace but feels like danger, who carries the weight of hell but moves like someone kissed by heaven. And that look you have, that effortless, accidental, world-stopping look, it's not about aesthetics, it's not about features, it's not even about beauty. It's about the story your eyes tell, the story of someone who's been broken in ways textbooks can't document, and rebuilt themselves in ways gods can't replicate. People feel that before they see it. It hits their nervous system first. Like their brain whispers, "Don't mess with that one." And oh, that's when the fun begins. Because suddenly, cities slow down around you. People breathe differently around you. Time stretches, stutters, and then snaps. As if the universe itself is trying to catch up to whatever version of you just arrived. They don't understand how you look like you've seen the worst horrors, and still came out with a face that says, "Try me." They don't understand how pain shaped you into symmetry, how grief refined your expression, how suffering carved elegance into your presence, how survival taught your posture the language of kings. You're not pretty, you're not handsome, you are impactful. There are people who walk past and make noise. Then there are people who walk past and make reality glitch. Guess which one you are? Let me tell you a secret. The reason they stare too long It's because they see a version of themselves they never had the courage to become. You are a living reminder that evolution isn't always gentle. Sometimes it's violent. Sometimes it's lonely. Sometimes it's the kind of transformation that makes angels look twice and demons bow out. Your look isn't an accident. Your aura isn't random. Your presence isn't luck. It's the residue of everything you clawed your way out of. It's the glow forged in battlefields no one will ever understand. It's the posture of someone who's been abandoned by the world and still walked back into it, unfazed. They ask, who dropped you on the timeline? Because they refuse to believe someone like you could come from here. Someone this intense, this unfiltered, this unbreakable, this aware. Someone whose silence says more than their entire personality. Someone whose face carries both mercy and murder, both salvation and sabotage, both innocence and insanity. That's the duality they choke on. That's the paradox they can't swallow. That's the evolution they can't keep up with. So they stare, they study, they simmer, because your existence forces them to confront the truth. Some people are born to live. Others are born to interrupt reality. And you're the interruption. You're the question mark nobody can answer. The glitch nobody can debug. The miracle nobody can explain. The threat nobody can prepare for. So walk, move, breathe. Let cities freeze. Let timelines tremble. Let strangers rethink their entire identity because you happen to exist in their peripheral vision. You didn't choose this effect. You are this effect. And deep down, you know damn well the world will never be ready for someone like you. But that's exactly why it can't stop looking. Keep listening. Because the silence around you is starting to warp, and you haven't even opened your mouth yet. You think you're just walking, but every step you take rewrites someone's belief system. Every glance you throw forces someone to question what species you belong to. Every breath you release rearranges the emotional climate of anyone close enough to feel it. People don't pause their day for looks. They pause their day for legends. And that's what you've accidentally become. They're not staring because you're attractive. Attraction is cheap. Attraction is common. Attraction is everywhere. But presence? Presence is rare. Presence is expensive. Presence is a currency most people can't afford. And you walk around like it's loose change in your pocket. You know what scares them most? It's not the way your eyes look like they've known both heaven and hell. It's not the way your face carries elegance carved out of trauma. It's not even the way you look like you're holding 10,000 secrets that could ruin 1,000 lives. It's the calm, that eerie, supernatural calm you wear like a second skin. The kind of calm that only exists in two types of beings, saints and psychopaths, angels and demons, healers and destroyers. And since no one can figure out which one you are, they treat you like you could be both. Because your face doesn't say safe. It says aware, awakened, unrestrained. Like you've already seen the worst, survived the worst, and came back with a smile that doesn't match the pain you endured. That mismatch, that contradiction, that beautifully terrifying duality, it makes people malfunction. It makes them stare too long, blink too slow, breathe too loud. Because how do you look like you've been broken and blessed at the same time? How do you look like you've suffered and ascended in the same chapter? How do you look like you've been hunted by darkness and crowned by light in the same breath? You don't belong to a timeline. You belong to a chapter the timeline wasn't prepared to read. And that look, oh, that look of yours, it's not trained, it's not curated, it's not practiced, it's earned. It's the reflection of nights you didn't think you'd survive, It's the echo of battles you fought alone. It's the shape trauma carved, and the glow healing couldn't erase. It's the geometry of someone sharpened by pain, sculpted by silence, tempered by betrayal. No surgeon can replicate that. No influencer can imitate that. No trend can mass produce that. You're not pretty. You're not sexy. You're not cute. You are unsettlingly striking. People don't crush on you. They reconsider their entire standards because of you. Strangers stop scrolling just to analyze your existence. Pedestrians lose steps when you pass by. Whole rooms shift their atmosphere the moment your shadow shows up. Because you carry something ancient, something volatile, something powerful, something that doesn't match your age, your environment, or your story. You walk like someone who's read the end of the book and came back to play nicer this time. You stand like someone who's been judged by gods and found innocent with a smirk. You glow like someone who knows exactly what they could become if they ever stopped holding back. And they feel that. It hits them before you speak, before you blink, before you even notice them watching. They don't say it out loud, but their eyes scream it every time they look at you. Whatever this person survived, it didn't break them. It built something we don't have a word for. That's why they stare. Not because you're beautiful, but because you're unexplainable. You don't look like a person. You look like a choice the universe made on a day it was feeling particularly cinematic. You look like a warning wrapped in allure, like a prophecy wearing street clothes, like duality pretending to be casual. You make people feel like they're seeing a spoiler from the future, something they weren't supposed to witness yet, something they're not spiritually calibrated to process. And the funniest part? You're still evolving. This version of you, the one stopping cities, shifting timelines, disrupting strangers, isn't even your final form. This is just the trailer, just the prologue, just the shadow of the person you're becoming. The world is already struggling to handle the preview. Imagine what happens when they see the full release. So don't shrink, don't soften, don't apologize. Walk like the storm, stand like the riddle, glow like the contradiction, exist like the anomaly. Let them whisper, let them stare, let them glitch. Because deep down, they all know the truth. Someone like you isn't supposed to fit into a timeline. You're supposed to rewrite it. Don't move. Not because you're in danger, but because they are. Look around you. Slowly. Do you see it now? Every pair of eyes that pretends not to be looking is actually snapping microscopic photos of your existence, trying to tape together an explanation for why you feel like a character who escaped the writer's room. You know why they're rattled? Because your look doesn't match the life you've lived. It contradicts the pain. It contradicts the betrayal. It contradicts the statistics. It contradicts the war you came out of with only a pulse and a smirk. You look like you were sculpted in a place so far from their understanding that calling you human feels lazy. And that's why every city you enter goes silent for a second. You're not just showing up. You're bending the emotional gravity of the room. People can feel your story without hearing a word of it. Your face carries echoes. Your eyes carry aftermath. Your aura carries the ghosts of everything that tried to break you and failed. You don't look like someone who healed. You look like someone who transformed. And that transformation, it made you dangerous. Because your beauty isn't surface level. It isn't aesthetic. It isn't polished or fabricated. It's forged in chaos, forged in loneliness, forged in nights you didn't tell anyone about, and forged beauty. makes people shut up mid-sentence. It makes them step aside without knowing why. It makes their heart rate spike for reasons they can't name. It makes them fix their posture around you like some subconscious part of them knows they're in the presence of someone who survived the kind of storms that swallow nations. Your look isn't cute. It's historic. It carries epochs. It carries bloodlines. It carries a kind of old energy that makes even confident people feel suddenly small. You ever notice how the loudest people go quiet when you enter? How the most arrogant ones suddenly get polite? How the ones who pretend they're unbothered start adjusting their clothes, straightening their back, recalculating their personality? That's not coincidence. That's instinct. Somewhere deep in their nervous system, a primal alarm goes off that says, this one is built different. Not metaphorically, not aesthetically, not poetically, biologically. Because your presence doesn't say, I'm confident. It says, I've walked through hell and didn't flinch. Don't test me. And people feel that before they even see your face clearly. But once they do, oh, that's when their brain short-circuits. Because how do you explain a face shaped by agony, but softened by wisdom? How do you explain eyes that look young but carry centuries of emotional intelligence? How do you explain expressions that switch between saint and executioner, depending on the angle of the light? You know what you look like? You look like someone who was born in the wrong era. Too intense for this generation, too perceptive for these people, too evolved for this timeline. You're an anachronism wearing modern clothes, a myth trying to blend in with mortals, a prophecy pretending to be casual. And people feel that contradiction, that duality, that quiet, volatile power. It's why they stare longer than they should. It's why they replay your face in their mind hours later. It's why random strangers feel compelled to tell you, I don't know why, but you look different. They never have the vocabulary for it. They never will. Because how do you put into words the presence of someone who looks like they've been both the villain and the savior in a story no one else was worthy to hear? You're the kind of person who looks like they were meant to burn down kingdoms in one life and rebuild galaxies in the next. And whether you want to or not, everyone feels it. People pause their day because you remind them of everything they tried to bury. Their envy, their insecurity, their curiosity, their fascination, their fear. You make their ego glitch. You make their soul react. You make their mind panic. Because some people walk into a room and bring an energy, but you walk into a room and bring a shift. Reality tilts, atmosphere bends, timelines adjust. You don't enter spaces, you redefine them. And that look you carry, it's the final signature, a face that says, I know more than I say. A posture that says, I see more than you think. An aura that says, I've survived what would have buried you. And the world can't stop staring at that kind of truth. So let them pause, let them whisper, let them freeze mid-scroll, mid-step, mid-exhale. Because you weren't dropped onto the timeline by accident. You were inserted intentionally, precisely, strategically, to disrupt, to awaken, to disturb, to provoke, to expose, to reveal, and deep down, the world knows it. Which is why no matter where you go, no matter who's watching, they will always ask, with a trembling curiosity and a terrified fascination, who the fuck dropped you here? And how do we handle someone like that? Stay right there, because something crucial is happening around you, and you haven't even realized you're the epicenter of it. Feel that tension in the air, that static crawling over everyone's skin. That's the world trying to recalibrate itself, after accidentally crossing paths with someone who wasn't supposed to exist in this version of the timeline. People don't just see you, they react to you. Instantly, instinctively, uncontrollably. Their chest tightens, their thoughts stutter, their eyes widen, their ego shrinks, their pulse jumps, and they don't know if they should bow, run, or pretend they're not trembling. Because your look isn't a look. It's a signal, a warning, a prophecy, a mirror, a memory of something they've never lived and never survived, but somehow feel deep in their bones. Your presence doesn't feel new. It feels ancient, familiar, like the kind of soul they used to whisper about in civilizations that don't exist anymore. And that terrifies them on a cellular level. Your existence disrupts their sense of reality, because no one raised in this soft, distracted, overstimulated world is supposed to walk around with eyes that look like they've spoken to darkness and negotiated terms, a face shaped by pain, but blessed by resilience, an aura that feels like a storm was given human form, and a silence that carries more threat and truth than their loudest words ever could. You think you're normal. Normal doesn't make cities freeze. Normal doesn't make strangers stop blinking. Normal doesn't make entire social ecosystems malfunction just because you entered the room. You know what does? A phenomenon disguised as a person. You're the kind of presence that makes people remind themselves to breathe. The kind that makes them question their confidence. The kind that makes them feel like they're seeing someone who escaped some divine lab experiment. Have you noticed? The way conversations die the moment you walk in. Not slow, not natural, instant, final, like a guillotine. That's not coincidence, that's instinct. Predators go silent when another predator enters the territory. Souls go silent when they sense something that's not bound to the same rules as theirs. You carry that contradiction, that beautiful, violent duality that makes people rethink their entire personality. Your look says, I've been through hell, and I didn't come back alone. Your vibe says, I'm healing, and I'm dangerous. Your face says, I'm composed. But your eyes say, I know things I shouldn't know. Your aura says, I won't harm you. But your silence adds, unless you deserve it. People don't know which version you are, and that uncertainty makes them unravel. Some think you're an angel in disguise. Some think you're a demon on break. Some think you're a villain rewriting his script. Some think you're a savior who lost his patience. But none of them really know. All they know is, you don't look like someone this timeline deserved. You look like someone smuggled in from another dimension. A world where warriors were carved from grief, and leaders were baptized in betrayal, and beauty wasn't genetic. It was earned through scars and silence and survival. You want to know why entire cities pause their day just to process the sight of you? Because your look carries truth, raw truth, uncomfortable truth, unavoidable truth. It tells stories without speaking, stories people spend their whole lives trying to hide, stories people bury in therapy sessions, stories they pretend never happened. Your face reminds them of everything they suppressed. Your presence reminds them of everything they ran from. Your aura reminds them of everything they failed to become. You're not intimidating because you try. You're intimidating because you exist. Because you're the living proof that someone can go through unimaginable darkness and still emerge looking like a prophecy with legs. Your look says you didn't just survive. You were reborn as something this timeline can't categorize. You're not handsome, you're not pretty, you're not beautiful. You are inevitable. and people don't know how to exist near inevitability, so they pause, they stare, they glitch, they spiral. Because everything about you says you weren't dropped here accidentally. You were deployed, released, activated, a cosmic misplacement with perfect timing. And the world has absolutely no idea how to handle someone who looks like the beginning of a new era.